Thanks everybody for coming out. Let's get introductions out of the way. We've got Commissioner Bankson just rolled in the back. We got Commissioner Diane Velasquez here in the front. And so we appreciate everybody coming out today. It's Jessica Pugh, which is kind of the one who put this all together for us from our finance department. I asked her about 2 years ago, I said, Jessica, I'd like to offer up, all the contractors we have around Apopka that don't know how to do business with Apopka, but would like to do business with Apopka. And she said, yeah, we're going to get around to it, Mayor. We'll get around to it. Well, it's finally come, and I think you're going to get a lot of great information. And what I guess the good news is, by waiting, we were able to add a couple other components that we didn't have 2 years ago. We've added, so we're going to talk about the city policies on contractors bidding for our contracts. And we just were awarded a contract CDBG grant for here in Apopka that Dr. Shekinah Jackson is going to be talking about. And the third one, which is, it's not going to be a city program or city buy, but a great program for individuals. It's called the SELF program. So it's some low interest loans that for people that need basically insulation, air conditioning, things that will save dollars in as far as your utilities. So we're really excited about today's event. And for those, if you got friends that couldn't make it here, it will be on our YouTube channel. So we'll have a link on the Apopka website. So you can go to the website, pick up the link, and you'll be able to go right to it. But I know that what we're going to be, I know Jessica's going to be working on is the software package. And just kind of real, down and dirty is that you'll be able to, if you're a plumber, you're an electrician, you're a pressure washer, every contract that comes up, you'll get a notice notified that, hey, City of Apopka's got a contract coming up, do you want to bid on it? So what we're trying to do is all the contractors out there that maybe are not as sophisticated, we want to be able to give you that opportunity, that tool to be able to go to the City of Apopka and look and bid on those contracts. Because the more small businesses that we have here in Apopka that work and live here, would be great to have you as a part of that the businesses that we introduced. Also got in the back, we've got our city administrator, so he's the brains behind the outfit. That's Edward Bass. So he had a big part in putting this together. So anyway, I think with that, Jessica, you want to come on up and get us started. Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Pugh. I'm the purchasing administrator for the city of Apopka. And so to get started, we just wanted to kind of go over some of the details of what purchasing and procurement means for the city of Apopka. Our division is in the finance department. We review, process, and authorize expenditures along with the directors and the city administrator. And we issue the purchase orders from our division along with formal bid solicitations and also contract executions. To give a little bit of an overview of our policy and how we actually spend at Apopka, the chart on the screen breaks down 4 different levels for our policy. The top 3 levels are quotes that are required to expend for the budgetary fund. So you can see which levels they are, what information is required from each of our departments, and the department is actually responsible for the top 3 levels to obtain that information when submitting a purchase order request. The last level is $50,000 and over, which triggers formal bid solicitation or the option of a piggyback contract. So the department, as well as the purchasing division, also assists in this process. The ProcureNow software that Mayor had mentioned that we're going to be utilizing, all of the quotes from the vendors and anybody that is registered will receive the bids anything over $50,000. So if you saw the invite, you saw where there was a link to register, that's where you would register with the software so that you would obtain any quotes or bids that we would be posting and advertising with the city. To go into a little bit more detail about that last threshold for $50,000 and above, The piggyback contracts can be utilized by the city without doing a formal bid solicitation. And what that means is that there are contracts that are active, that have already been solicited or bid out through the process by another governmental agency or a purchasing alliance. The city can actually piggyback onto their terms and conditions. So as long as all the statutes and the scope of services are comparable and the pricing is identified, there wouldn't be a bid solicitation. We can actually just jump onto those contracts as well. So we have listed on this page just some areas where we would obtain piggyback contracts. So that would be in places like local agencies, a sister city in the area, state agency, Sourcewell, GSA, NCPA, and U.S. Community are all purchasing alliances. So they follow the formal bid processing, and then we're able to jump on the contract. Your formal bid process initiates for goods, services, and projects that are over $50,000. This starts with the department creating the scope and specifications, and then they collaborate with our division in order to advertise the bid. We are going to use, like I've said, of course, the ProcureNow website. It will include all the instructions, scheduling, and opportunity to submit questions when we post it. And usually it's anywhere between about 15 to 45 days that we would advertise it. So you have an opportunity, if you had any questions when it is posted, to ask those questions and communicate to see if the bid or project is appropriate for your firm or your contractor. Registered ProcureNow firms will submit a proposal using the ProcureNow website. So once you're registered and you view all the documents, you would submit the scheduled time that was listed on the bid document. And then the bids are reviewed and selected based on the criteria described in the advertised bid document. So all of the criteria, and we'll go through this on the next slide, to be able to select a contractor would be provided to you when it's advertised. So all your instructions, your information, how we select, when we're going to select, where the proposals will be opened and available for you would all be provided in the same location. Staff then recommends the award to City Council, and once authorized, our division processes the execution of the contract. And this process can take anywhere between 30 to 90 days from the start to end for execution. Different types of formal solicitations that we might advertise. The first being an invitation to bid, or what we would call an ITB. It is awarded based on the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. Your RFP, or request for proposals, are awarded via the evaluation criteria outlined in the bid document. These could be things like experience, technical information and components, and it can even include pricing as part of the evaluation. An RFQ, or a request for qualification, is awarded similarly to the RFP in that it will also have evaluation criteria, but the pricing is usually negotiated after the contractor is recommended. The method most commonly used for this is professional services related to engineering and architectural services. And this is per our Florida State statute under the CCNA, or Competitive Consultants Negotiations Act. Insurance comes up quite frequently. Vendors will ask, how much insurance do I need to become a vendor? So this is just a sampling of some of the insurance requirements that would be held if you were doing business with the city of Apopka. There will be variations depending on what type of job that it is for. All our bid solicitations that are advertised on the ProcureNow website will list specifically what your insurance requirements are. So obviously if you're purchasing a commodity compared to actually doing a construction job, your insurance requirements might vary. So in summary, in order to become a vendor, we ask the following: that first and foremost, that you register with the ProcureNow website, which I think we have advertised with the invite on our city's website. We're also going to be following up with a survey if you've registered with us today to attend. That will include that registration. We're also going to have ProcureNow here today, and they're going to go over what it looks like to actually register with ProcureNow and what it would look like to submit a proposal if you were interested. Once you have registered, there will be notifications that go out either for the quotes or the bid solicitations, the formal larger projects over $50,000. We ask that you would just review the information. If they're applicable to you, then we would receive a submittal for you within the instructions on the website. There are QR codes that are available at the front of the event when you come in for welcome. They're going to give you any documents that we have affiliated, including this PowerPoint, our purchasing policy, insurance threshold requirements, that kind of information. So if you didn't register with us to attend today, just make sure that you go up to the front and grab that QR code so that you can get all the documents to reference after the event. And then my last slide before I hand it over is, does anybody have any questions? And if you do, I just need you to come up to the microphone. Any questions thus far? No? Great. Well, we are going to go right into ProcureNow, and I'm going to bring up Jerry to present.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Forsland, and I'm from ProcureNow. I work for ProcureNow, and I've been there for a year, and sometimes people say, a year? How long is that? That's, what do you really know about ProcureNow? I come from Procurement. I did what Jessica currently does for Leon County. I am a Florida girl. Although I know my Alabama accent kind of confuses everybody. Actually, no, I'm from the Northeast and have been living in Florida for, scared to even say this out loud, 20 plus years. And so I worked in procurement, and I was the very first Florida company that implemented this software in my organization and decided, God, this made such a difference in my life and it made me so much more efficient. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to go help all the other agencies out there. I work with the vendors all day, every day. I work with the customers all day, every day. I'm the director of customer success, so I am here to help make you successful. One of the things that I was asked to share with you today is how to actually register. You should have received an email from us that says, hey, Apopka is going with ProcureNow, please click on this link and it will bring you. But some people may say, I don't really feel comfortable with that, so I'm going to show you how to actually log in. And if you know somebody that did not receive that invite, they can always go to the public portal and they're able to log in as well, because we want all vendors in the system, because our system is capable of emailing you and sending automatic email notifications and letting you know when a new opportunity is available for you. We are here to support you. You do not need to go to Apopka if you have questions on using the system. That's what we're here for. We will walk you through everything. If you don't feel comfortable, we will jump on a Zoom call. We'll give you a call. We'll walk you through every piece of it. So I'm going to go through. The very first thing you're going to do, this is the main page for ProcureNow. If you do not have an account, you will click the sign up button. And you need to enter your email address. I'm going to go enter an email address, so give me 1 second. That is how you sign up. Pretty simple, right? You just put your email address and an email is sent to you, and it will have a little activation. Once you log into that account, you set up your email, which is your user account. Like, people will say, hey, I don't know what my username is. It's your email. We make it as simple as possible. You'll have to then set up a password, and it's a 12-character password. And what winds up happening with that, 12 characters, I believe it's 87 years before somebody can break into your account, because sometimes people say, I don't understand why you need 12. We don't ask for special characters. You don't have to have uppercase, lowercase. It just has to be 12 characters long for your password. Now, if you're interested in one of the projects that are available, then there's additional information that you need to provide. But what I want to show you is, this is your site. This is what your site would look like. The very first thing you would do is subscribe to the City of Apopka. When you go in, there is a link. When you click on that link, when Apopka sent that to you, it will bring you right to their site after you activate the account, and you can click the little green subscribe button. You will see, this is the vendor account. This is what a vendor account looks like. It will have my subscriptions. When you start subscribing to the different agencies, you'll be able to see all of the agencies listed here. There are multiple agencies in Florida. You need one vendor account and you can subscribe to all those different agencies. So when you click on the City of Apopka, this is not going to show any projects because we don't have any live projects because they just came onto our site. But I have a project that I'm going to show you because I want to show you how easy it is to draft a response to a solicitation for a particular project. Once you go on, this would be green if you're not subscribed to it. If you click green, if you click on it, it will make you subscribed, and then you can see it under the My Subscriptions tab. All right, so when you click on the project, and it will bring you to the project, you can see this draft response button. Down the side, here's all your project documents. These are all the documents that pertain to this particular project. You can click through, you can see everything. It will show you the details on the project. It will tell you any scope of work that they have. You'll be able to look at any of the attachments that are in there. If there's a pricing table that you need to fill out, you'll see that in here. And then the vendor submissions, this is a super important piece because it brings everything that you are required to submit for the project into one location. And so you can see, I haven't even logged in yet. I'm not logged into the system at all. Notice I can't click on things, I can't upload files. But you can view the entire project, which really makes it nice for our vendors because they can see, is this a project I'm interested in, or is it something that I don't feel that really fits into my background? Once you are ready, you click the draft response button, and you would use that email address and that password to log in. Once I log in, you can see that it tells me it's incomplete. I have a company profile that I set up, but if you scroll through this, here's the contact information. This is what I had originally set up when I set up my vendor portal. If you only had done the email address and the password, this is the time that you'd be required to do some other pieces of information, like your address, your company name. There are certain required pieces of information, and then there's optional pieces of information. The addenda confirmation, if the city releases addenda when they're doing their solicitation, you are required to acknowledge that addenda by confirming receipt of them. The questionnaire has everything in it, and now I can actually click and I can download documents. I can confirm things. We embed documents right into the questions. Again, these projects have everything located in one location for vendors to understand, so they don't have to flip through all those pages and try to find all the information that's required. Pricing, super simple. You need to just fill it out. It highlights in a different color the things that you have to submit. On pricing tables, it is required that you fill out every line item. But the most important piece of this entire conversation that we're having, any issues, any concerns, any questions that you may have when you're working in our system, this little blue button is going to be your best friend. This little blue button, we have a customer that calls it the emergency button. It is our chat feature. Anyone on our team would be able to answer any questions. You don't have to go to Apopka, you can come directly to us to answer any questions about using the system. Now, we will not answer project-specific questions for you. We will not assume that that Apopka wants you to do certain things or supply certain things, or if you have questions. But anything with the system or anything in a general sense, we will walk you through and we will help you in the system itself. I already shared with you the company profile. Here's the information that you may have set up. If you have not set it up, you can set it up when you're activating your account. If there's something that needs to be changed, you can click the edit button. You have the company information, you have category codes if you work in painting and roofing and construction and you want only projects for those types of projects, notifications for only those types of projects, the system will do that for you. If you have any certifications for small business or MWSBE or a DBE, you can upload that information in here and you can share your certification. And then of course, if there's any documents you want to provide, you can add that as well. Those are not requirements to be a vendor in our system. So if you don't do that, if it's something that Apopka needs as part of their solicitation, then they would ask you to supply that in their questionnaire. Once you're done filling everything out, there's a submit button. And that is all there is to it. The system has a countdown clock. It will send you reminders and say, hey, don't forget, this is due at this time, and it will send you some automatic email notifications. In the system, you can limit the amount of notifications you receive, and we can absolutely walk you through that. Anyone have questions? And I know we're going to be out there, but if you have a question, I won't make you necessarily walk up to the microphone. But if you have something general that you want to know about activating your account, have you all received an email? Okay, so come see me at the end, and I can help you get set up. I have a computer with me that I can help you with.
Some of the procurement websites, if you haven't been invited by a specific agency, there's a charge to get a subscription. Do you have a...
We do not have a charge. You can subscribe to as many agencies as you want that work with ProcureNow. If there's an agency that you want to work with that doesn't use ProcureNow, hey, let them know about us. And we will get in touch with them and we'll say, listen, we have tons of vendors that, may be interested. There is no charge for you. If you are an office of multiple people, you need one vendor account and you can add as many employees under that one vendor account. Vendor accounts are for the organization, but then each person in there, which we call users, each user has their own login. So you can collaborate on every project and work together in the system. But no fee, it's totally free for you. Yeah, yes. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys out there.
Okay, next up, we got Dr. Chikinya Jackson going to talk to us about the CDBG grant. We've got $750,000 grant coming in for rehabilitations for residents here in Apopka. So she's going to go through it. It's a little more complicated. It's a federal program, so it's a little more complicated than even the city's program. But anyway, she's going to kind of run through it. She's got a team from, I guess Fred Fox is here to help kind of navigate that for you. So next up, Dr. Jackson.
Good morning. Well, before we get into the CDBG program, what I would like to do is just to discuss some of the projects that the city has completed, and also let you know of some of the things that we have upcoming. The following two projects the city has completed successfully through grant funding. We have the recreational trails program. The city received 80-20 split with the Florida Department of Recreation. We were able to go into Kitland Nelson Park. If you've ever been in the park and you've been able to go through the walk path that we have installed, that was actually through a grant. So we went in, we installed a walking path, some landscaping, lighting, and also was able to put in some new benches. That particular project, we did bid that project, so it went through our normal procurement process. The bottom slide, it shows you the USTA grant. That particular grant, we were able to go in and resurface our tennis courts. That was a 50-50 grant with USTA, and the city was able to complete that at our Northwest Recreation Complex. So the reason why I'm showing these slides is to just show you all the grants that we are able to apply for and the work that may come up for recreation in particular. We have a new grant that we were just awarded from the Florida Recreation and Development Assistance Program. This particular grant, we received $50,000. So we are currently working on this project, so this is an opportunity for us to use local vendors. So we will be installing a new playground, new picnic facilities, new bike rack, drinking fountain, baseball field renovations, and also will need help with restroom renovations for that particular project. Alonzo Williams Park, we're currently working with our community development department. They are installing a walking path from our downtown that will extend around the city, and actually it will also have a portion of it at our Alonzo Williams Park. This particular grant will install a new walking trail, security lighting, security fencing, landscaping, and a parking lot at the Alonzo Williams Park. This particular grant, like I said, we will need contractors that will help with this particular project. Today we have Melissa Fox with us from Fred Fox Enterprises. Melissa is a CDBG expert. We use her to help with our CDBG grants. We have quite a few CDBG grants that will be coming up. Like the mayor mentioned, we do have a housing grant. So we will be going throughout the city. We will be soliciting applications for those that may be living in homes that need repair. So if a home is not meeting code, we will have a grant that will assist those homeowners. That's the key word is they have to be homeowners. So we will go in and help those homeowners to go in and bring their homes to code. But we also have a couple other CDBG programs. We are hoping to have a sidewalk project that will target our South Apopka area. And also we will have some CDBG projects that deal with mitigation that may go in and help with some of the roofing areas that need to be addressed within the city. So there's lots of work to be had, lots of opportunities for you all to partner with the city. At this time, I would like to bring up Melissa. Melissa will go into just greater detail with the CDBG program. It is a little bit more complicated as far as the procurement policy is concerned. It still basically follows what the city has in place, but there are certain factors that you also have to keep in mind when you're working with these federal funds. Melissa?
Hi, good morning. I'm here today to just kind of go over the Community Development Block Grant Program, just as it relates to contractors, and it relates to once you have been awarded a job on the CDBG, what are your expectations? What are you going to have to fulfill? Let's see. So the Community Development Block Grant Program is a federal program that provides funding for housing and community development activities. The Florida Department of Economic Opportunity is a funding agency here in the state that actually administers it and passes it down to the communities. It's a competitive grants program that awards funds to units of local government in small urban and rural areas. Florida receives between $18 and $26 million annually from HUD to award subgrants to eligible units of local government. So these are competitive, so each year the city, they get an allotment from the federal government through HUD. The city opens up, or the state opens up what's called the application cycle, and small communities and counties throughout the state of Florida compete for these funds, anywhere between 18 and 26 million. The maximum that a city can receive is 750,000, and it's based on population size. So, but for the city of Apopka, they would receive the full 750. And, I put up two pictures right there. That was the Alonzo Williams Community Center that the city just finished, and a portion of that project was actually funded with Community Development Block Grant funds. All right, the program provides an excellent opportunity for communities to obtain funds for projects that they otherwise can't afford. CDBG funds provide administrative support for local governments that may not have the staffing resources necessary to administer their projects. Some examples of some CDBG funded projects include water and sewer improvements, water line replacement, sewer line replacement, work at the water plant, work at the sewer plant, rehabilitation of substandard housing, street and sidewalk improvements, economic development activities that create jobs for low and moderate income people, downtown revitalization, including facade improvements, streetscaping and underground utilities, park facilities and community centers, and drainage and stormwater improvements. And I'm kind of giving you a couple pictures from different projects, that we have worked on. The first one is obviously, that's a new home that was built. The second one is water line replacement. The third is the street improvements. Fourth was a drainage project activity, and the fifth one was a elevated water storage tank. So there's lots of different categories. There's lots of different activities that you can do under the Community Development Block Grant Program. And a city can only have one open Community Development Block Grant Program at a time. So once they're awarded, they need to complete that project, and then they're eligible to get back in line and actually compete for further funding. Now, because these are federally funded projects, there are federal guidelines that each contractor who bids and is awarded the project would need to follow. The first is the Davis-Bacon Act. The second is the Contract Work Hours and Safety Standard Acts. The third is the Copeland Act. The fourth is the Fair Housing Labor Standards Act. And 5 is the Section 3 requirements. And then also there are MBE and WBE requirements in there. And I'm going to go through each one of those just briefly. The Davis-Bacon Act requires the payment of prevailing wage rates, which are determined by the U.S. Department of Labor, to all laborers and mechanics on federal government project in excess of $2,000. So over to your right, that's what's called a wage decision. So every time the city would be awarded, or any community would be awarded a project, they have to request a wage decision. And it's typically based on either the metropolitan statistical area. In this case, that's what the city would be under. It would be under Orlando's. And the Department of Labor is going to issue this wage decision. And then as the contractor, you're going to agree that you, as well as any subs you hire, are going to pay at the minimum of those wage rates. So for a laborer, common or general, it would be $21.50. That's extremely high. I've not seen that in the state of Florida, but that's just an example. So a wage decision would be issued, and you would agree to pay your laborers and any mechanics that you have on the job, as well as you would require your subcontractors to pay those minimum wage rates. I'm sorry?
I used to work for the city of Orlando. We used to do this, and they would come and we used to interview some contractors just randomly.
Yep, and that's actually part of what our firm provides. As you know, we come out there and we actually interview the employees, and you know, once a month, however often, and we'll ask them, you know, what are you being paid an hour? And we're also observing, well, what are your duties? If you're listed as a laborer, you know, a general laborer, and you're only supposed to be paid $12 an hour, but we observe you putting pipe together in a, you know, in the ground, then that's considered a pipe layer, and you have to be paid more than just a general laborer. So there's different things like that, you know, that we're coming out there to check to make sure that you're being paid the wage rates. We're also, the wage rates have to be posted at the job site, so that way every employee knows, okay, this is what my job classification is, and this is what I'm supposed to be paid. All right. The Contract Work Hours and Safety Standards Act requires time and a half for overtime hours. Anything over 40 hours in a work week, you are required to pay time and a half. Violations of this carry a liquidated damages penalty, $10 per day per violation. And then intentional violations of the CWHSSA standards can be considered for federal criminal prosecution. And I don't want to steer anybody away from doing. A lot of these goals or these requirements are easily met, and you know, I've been doing this for 28 years now, and I've never seen someone, you know, violate the overtime policy or anything like that. So it's just a lot of this is we just have to go over this because these are federal requirements, but they're really easily obtained. All right, so the Copeland Act, that's the next one. The Copeland Act makes it a federal crime for anyone to require any laborer or mechanic employed on a federal or federally assisted project to kick back, give up, or pay back any part of their wages. The Copeland Act requires every employer, both contractors and subcontractors, to submit weekly certified payroll reports and regulates permissible payroll deductions. So, and over here is a sample of a payroll report that you would be required to submit weekly. And on there, you're going to list your employees. You're going to list what their job classification is and their rate of pay. And then over to the right, and I don't know if you can really see that, you're going to have your FICA and your withholding deductions. Those are automatic. Nobody has to sign for those. Those are just, you assume that those are going to be taken. But then anything else that you're taking out of their check, if it's for uniforms, if it's for health insurance, if it's for child support, anything like that, you have to have an authorization for deduction for those forms. And that is just to ensure that you're not taking out, you know, you might be paying them $2 more an hour because of the wage decision, but then over here, there's this other deduction that you're taking back out to cover that. And that's what this Copeland Act, they're saying that's not acceptable. You cannot do that. That is against the law. So if you have an other deduction, you need to have an authorization, and that authorization needs to be signed by that employee, that they're aware that, you know, $3 a week is coming out for uniforms, or $50 a week is coming out for child support, whatever. Anything other than federal withholding and FICA, you have to have an authorization for deduction. All right. The Fair Labor Standard Acts, that contains federal minimum wage rates, overtime, and child labor requirements. These requirements generally apply to any labor performed. The Department of Labor has the authority to administer and enforce Florida Labor Standards Act. HUD will refer to the DOL any possible FLSA violations that are found on HUD projects. And then the final two are additional requirements that are put in place by the state. And this is contracting with small and minority businesses, women business enterprises. The non-federal entity must take all necessary affirmative steps to ensure that minority business, women business enterprises are utilized. Any prime contractor will be required to take steps for soliciting for MBE, WBE firms. So the state is asking each city that or county that receives, this allotment of funding, that they're going to ensure that they take steps to encourage both MBE and WBE businesses. And one way that the community will do that is there is a state list, state certified vendors list. You can go onto the state's website and you can put in Orange County and you can put in surrounding counties, around that, and then it will give you all of the email addresses. It'll give you all the contact phone numbers, email addresses, and then the city will be required to email all of those communities and of an upcoming bid, for CDBG. So they're going to send you out an invitation to bid on this project, whether it be for administration, engineering services, contractors, whatever it is, you're going to be notified of that. In addition, that list is going to be placed in the plans and specifications for the project. And prime contractors are going to be encouraged to utilize that list when soliciting for subcontractors. And then finally, the state has a Section 3 clause in there. The contractor will be subject to Section 3 compliance. And the contractor in this is agreeing to certify that any vacant employment positions, including training positions, will be posted in the community and will give preference to Section 3 residents, which are low-income residents of that community. So if you are awarded the project, and we're at the pre-construction conference, or we're going to ask you to place, and we'll even, or whoever will do up the form for you, to place these in, maybe rent-controlled apartment communities, places where low-income residents will be able to see this, that, you may have a job opportunity. You may be hiring some day laborers. And the state wants you to try to solicit for those low-income residents within the county. They don't necessarily have to live within the city, but they need to live within the county, because you're trying to promote, you're trying to encourage, employment for federally assisted projects. I know that was a lot of information. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Anybody? All right, you're making it too easy. All right, thank you so much. And I'll be around afterwards if you think of anything.
Thank you. All right, next up, we've got Nicole Kennedy's going to introduce the self-staff, which is the program. It's not a city program, but we want to at least make you aware of that project and the opportunities that it might have for small contractors here in the area. So Nicole, come on up.
All right, good morning. How's everybody today? Thank you for coming out. Really appreciate it. As the mayor mentioned, the city has recently established a partnership with the Solar and Energy Loan Fund Program. There we go. Recently established a partnership with the SELF program, and we are so excited because this is going to be a great opportunity in the city of Apopka, not only because it will provide access to innovative financing for home improvement projects for residents and projects for vendors, but it's also another option to the two other city programs that were mentioned earlier if you don't qualify either as a resident or a contractor. So we're really, really excited to introduce this to the city of Apopka. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview, and then I'm going to introduce the SELF team to come and talk to you a little bit more about it. So SELF is a partnership opportunity to provide access to sustainable home improvement projects through affordable and innovative financing. The primary focus of SELF is on energy efficiency, renewable energy, and climate resilience. Anyone can apply for SELF, but it's mostly targeted towards low-income and working-class communities. Some of the support services, and I have a few of them on here, but SELF is going to talk to you a little bit more about that, not limited to access to favorable financing, pre-screening of contractors, which is the licensing and insurance, and also building science and energy expertise for the kinds of projects that qualify for the program. And just to kind of give you some of the numbers, SELF has done some pretty incredible work in the community. SELF has helped more than 1,500 families finance $17 million in projects over the last decade. They were first established in 2010 in the St. Lucie County, and they recently established a satellite office here in Orange County. And they reached out to us over the past couple months, and we've just been coordinating, and so we're really happy to have them on board in this partnership. And with the satellite office, they've completed over $400,000 in projects, and that number has probably gone up since the last couple months. So I would like to introduce Mr. Bob Cambrick and the SELF team. Mr. Cambrick is on the board of directors for SELF, so they're going to come up and talk to you a little bit more about SELF. Thank you.
I know you're recording, but I also don't need a microphone. Just want to say hello very quickly. Named Bob Cambrick. My family moved here to Apopka, I believe it was 1968. We've been here. And the reason why I say that is that I'm on the board of SELF, but I want to have a conversation with you about SELF as a resident of Apopka and the opportunities that it creates. But before I do that, one of the things I want to also do is, I've been doing community development as an urban planner for over 35 years, and I've worked all around the state of Florida. I've done community development, I've done economic development. And what I want to say to you is that your leadership, Mayor Nelson, and the city commissioners that are here, as well as the staff, this type of forum, bringing in people to inform them about how to work with the city, is innovative and unique. And you should really thank them for what they're doing and making you part of the Apopka community. And as part of that, we're happy that Mayor Nelson also is opening up the partnership with SELF. Like Nicole was saying, we have a satellite office here in Orlando. We have a partnership that's already been in place with the city of Orlando and Orange County. I would not be on the board of directors if I did not believe in this nonprofit, its ability to help especially low and moderate income families to do improvements that they otherwise would be able to do, but also the ability to work with contractors, local business people, and have them be able to get their revenue streams increased as well. And so you didn't come here to hear from me. I'm telling you, Lori Gomez-Borg is our satellite office loan officer. She's going to go through everything. We're going to be out front to talk with you afterwards as well. And thank you for welcoming us, Mayor Nelson, and we'll go from there. Lori?
Well, good morning, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank Bob. Thank you for the introduction. And Mayor Nelson, thank you so much for the opportunity today. Nicole, you did a great job introducing me, so I don't really feel that I need to add anything more to that, but I will. Just to let you know about SELF, we do stand as an acronym for the Solar and Energy Loan Fund. So SELF's mission is to rebuild and empower underserved communities by providing access to affordable and inclusive financing for sustainable home improvements. Now, our primary focus is going to be on energy efficiency, renewable energy, and climate resilience in our low to moderate income neighborhoods. We strive to create a positive social, economic, and environmental impact. And we do this by helping people improve the quality of life in their homes while reducing their operating costs and greenhouse gas emissions. So the impacts that we've had so far, we've been around for 10 years. We've helped 2,000 families with credit scores. If you look at it, out of the credit scores, 50% of our clients that we've assisted have had a credit score of less than 640. 27 have had less than a 600 credit score, and 72 of our people that we've assisted live in low to moderate income households. When you look at the demographic that we have, 54% are women, 14% are veterans, 52 are seniors, and we have 49% that are on fixed incomes. So when you're looking at what we've saved as far as greenhouse gas emissions, so CO2, we've saved more than 1,700 metric tons of CO2. Now what that equivalates to is going to be 193 plus gallons of gasoline. And we've reduced our residents' electric bills by an average of 20% or 25%. And we have done over 17 million in lending. So you're probably asking yourself, if you're a contractor, why would you want to partner with us? Well, what you're looking at is, first and foremost, we do not charge you dealer fees. So there is no cost for the capital that you receive from self. So what does that mean? Is that you're going to be able to offer a same as cash price to your client. There's going to be less denials. By the way that we look at an application, we are looking at their ability to pay and not credit score. So that means less denials to you. If you've had somebody that's been turned down for traditional financing, we're able to help them because of the way that we evaluate their loan application. You as a contractor are going to be guaranteed payment. The client never receives the funds, they sign the loan documents, and upon them signing the loan documents, we send out the client a notice to proceed, which guarantees you the payment upon completion and inspection of the job. And we also will provide you with pre-qualified referrals. And there's a lot of co-marketing opportunities. And we also will assist with client management. A lot of times when if you're a small mom and pop contractor, every time that you're answering the phone, that's keeping you from going out to a customer and doing sales. So what we try to do, as much as you'd like, is we can answer those phone calls for you as far as client education on the process. And of course, we have cool tools, so we can talk about that later. And another thing is that you're helping your community by being able to provide a service to the low to moderate income households. These are traditionally people that are unable to find financing or have been declined by their local bank. So we provide lending for everybody. So we provide affordable unsecured loans, and what that means is that we do not it is truly an unsecured loan. We do not tie anything to the property taxes or to the person, no liens on the home. We base our approval on the customer's ability to pay and not credit score. Our loans are for sustainable and resilient home improvements. We have special programs for women that are heads of household, veterans, and seniors. And our interest rates are anywhere between 5 to 11%. And then our terms go from 3 to 10 years. So you're probably asking yourself, who's eligible for these wonderful loans through SELF? Well, you must be the homeowner. You must live in the Florida, Georgia, or Alabama area, or states. You must be current on your property taxes. You must be current on your mortgage payment. You must provide us with your proof of income, and there must be disposable income that we can use in order to package the loan. I really like this slide because this gives you a visual of the home improvements that we do. On the top, you're looking at solar products, so you think of solar panels. Towards the bottom, we do sewer and water. I recently did a gal that had a complete septic collapse, and we were able to fund that for her. A storm resilience, that's going to be anything like hurricane shutters, roofs, straps and clips, hurricane clips and straps. Weatherization and insulation speaks for itself. We do LED lighting, health and safety, disability products. So we're very happy to help those that need to have ramps, walk-in or roll-in showers, retrofits to door jambs in their homes as well. And then, of course, your high-efficiency air conditioning systems. I like this slide because this shows our highest grossing contractors that we've worked with within the last year. Now, got to tell you, Orange County, we've been here for a year. I've been here a year. So you're going to see one contractor. And we only did 2 months worth of work, and that was Dash Pro. And it was 2 months in April and September. and it was 57,000. Gotta hold on, gotta put the glasses on so I can see. We got 52,000. So that was in 2 months. And so what's really impressive about this slide is the total, $1.8 million. That was in the last year. Now, what you need to consider is this is $1.8 million that would have been left on the table because the customers were not able to find financing. And this is a testimonial from one of our happy customers. She actually worked for an energy company and came to us to get her high-efficiency air conditioning system. And if truth be known, her electricity bill went down by $150 because of the savings that she received on her high-efficiency air conditioning. So she was able to reduce her electricity costs, and with the savings was able to make a payment on her loan with us. So if you like, we will be in the back later on today. I do have Abril, who's our community engagement officer, wave again. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about our program. Yes, sir?
You said disposable income.
Yes.
Tied to the loan.
Yes.
Now, disposable income sometimes is defined as 30% of what you make. You just throw away and not worry about it.
Yep, that's a really good question. So you're wondering what okay, so the question is the definition of disposable income and what we use. So what we're doing is we do pull credit on our clients, just to let you know, because we need to get a full picture of what their financial picture is. We look at the income coming in to what's going out to monthly debt, and what we're looking at is at least a 20% disposable income.
So do you finance, let's say a storm comes through for storm awareness, do you finance things like insurance deductibles?
We do. Our minimum of our loans are $3,000. We do insurance deductibles, and you'll also be happy to know that we also are one of the very few, if any, we do finance manufactured housing. So if you need a roof, as you know, it's very hard to find financing for a manufactured home. All right. I thank you very much for your time today, everyone. I hope to see you over there, and we'd love to sign you up.
All right, well, hope everybody got some good information today. We've got in the back, we've got all the departments from the city that might, have contracting needs. So feel free to step out and talk to any of those. We'll also have the folks from SELF and also the folks that will represent the CDBG grant and how that will operate. So feel free to do that, and please share with any of your friends, how to get to the website, and then to show the video if they're interested in these contract availabilities for the city and CDBG and SELF. So thanks everybody for coming out. Appreciate it.